Good Friday morning. We made it through another week. Today you're going to be doing a couple things. Let's check to see what our schedule is this week. If you go onto Schoology, you'll see attendance form, watching this screencast. Any questions that you have for me, leave in discussion. You can also always email me or contact me via Remind. Either way is fine. Tonight by 11:59 on Schoology, you want to submit that 500-word essay. And down here in the bottom, it's not here right now, but it will be. Down there in the bottom, there will be a link to your assignment. It will look, let me show you. It will be this link right here will have been moved into that folder. So if you click on that link, it's going to take you to, again, the submission. So over here, it'll say make submission or submission or whatever. So go ahead and click that. Remember, when you go over into your paper, you want to click share. Over here, you want to change this. It'll say can view. Again, you want to change it to can edit. Otherwise, I'm going to send you one of those annoying emails or reminds saying, I need to be able to edit it so I can give you ideas. Remember, change from can view to can edit. Then when you do that, and you want the link can edit, copy link, and you go back over into Schoology, and that submit the center tab is create, click create, and then paste in the link so that you can submit that assignment by 11:59 tonight. Okay, so if you take a look, then we're going to talk a little bit about the next steps in Major Paper 4. And that's what the screencast is going to be about. So let's take a look at that. All right. Now that you've finished all the rough drafts for the portfolio, what you need to start doing is revising and editing any previous drafts based on my comments. It will take me probably about a week to get done with these 500-word essays. So by next week, Friday, expect to have had my comments and revision suggestions on all of the 500-word personal statements. I've already done everything else that everyone has turned in. So if you remember from when we were in class last, in the packet, there is a peer editor sheets in the hard copy packet that I gave you in class that I had you put inside that manila folder. So in that peer editor sheets, you want to make sure that someone gets that and reads your portfolio and fills that out. You can either take photos or you can scan that into a printer, to a PDF for me when you submit your portfolio. It should go in there. You can paste photos into Google Drive if you want to, or you can just submit the photos in some other way that you know how to so that it's ready to go. But that won't be until May 1st, the date that the whole portfolio is ready to go. So once you give that to a peer editor, they will give you suggestions for revisions and editing as well. Take a look at those suggestions and decide which of those suggestions do you actually want to use and follow through on, and go ahead and revise again based on those suggestions. Okay, another thing that you can do for a little bit of extra points on this Major Paper 4 portfolio is you can actually send your request for a reference letter via email or via like regular mail, print it out and send it in the mail with your resume to the person who you want to write a letter for. Ask them if they can write a letter for you by May 1st and get it back to you. Actually, you probably want to do the last day in April as the due date for that letter. If you get a letter in the packet, it's 5 extra credit points onto your final grade for Major Paper 4. Another thing that you should consider doing is sending a thank you note to the person who peer edits your folder, as well as the person who writes your letter when they're done writing your letter. You don't have to do that, but that is just the nice thing to do when someone writes you a letter of recommendation. For me, it takes about 45 minutes to an hour to write each letter of recommendation that I get. So it is really nice when I get a thank you from someone for having done that. All right, so your final portfolio is due by May 1st. You will be submitting it via Schoology, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that as we get closer to the submission deadline. All right, talking about thank you letters. When you are writing the thank you notes or letters or whatever for the person who has done your personal reference, or for the person who has done your peer editing, make sure that you make it meaningful and personal, not just thanks for doing what you did. Consider saying something that really specifically replies to something that was written in the letter or something that you're grateful for them having done or said. So I would have you consider a quote that says something important about like gratefulness or thankfulness or something like that. Be as specific as you can and try to be heartfelt in your thank you. And then when you close, decide what you want to say for your closing. Sincerely, you probably don't want to say love unless you really do love that person. But consider what you want to say as your closing goodbye to that person, and then sign your name, and then class of 2021 underneath your name. For me, that's always really nice because I keep those thank you cards, and then I can remember, where you fit in my career of teaching, what class you were a member of, and it just helps me remember you a little bit more. So that's what I suggest for that. Some quotes about kindness that I've kind of put it together here for you to consider, maybe using as your thank you. Good old Jackie Chan, sometimes it takes only one act of kindness and caring to change a person's life. I think that's kind of appropriate because you're asking people to write you a letter that could potentially change your life. Scott Adams, remember there's no such thing as a small act of kindness. Every act creates a ripple with no logical end. We don't know the ripples that, you getting into college and going and starting your career will cause and who you will inspire in the future. So that's a good one. Amelia Earhart said, a single act of kindness throws out roots in all directions. The roots spring up and make new trees. Obviously, that's very appropriate for where you're headed. And then quote about kindness. Kindness is a passport that opens doors and fashions friends. It softens hearts and molds relationships that can last lifetimes. That's a really nice one about opening doors because that's what these letters will do for you. And then finally, love and kindness are never wasted. They always make a difference. They bless the one who receives them, and they bless you, the giver, by Barbara DeAngelis. Those are just some basic quotes that I think would be a meaningful thing to include on a thank you. You can always search for your own, but that's a great way to start. Okay. I hope that gives you some ideas for what you want to do to kind of finalize your major paper 4 portfolio. Remember, tonight, you want to make sure that you have that personal statement. And then next week, we'll be back here again in digital learning, and we'll be focusing next week instead of on major paper 4, we're going to be focusing on preparing for the AP exam and more rhetorical analysis. I wanted to reassure those of you who hadn't originally signed up for the AP exam that what we're doing here will also help you. Your grades are also going to be dependent on all the things that we're doing in the last few weeks, as well as all this rhetorical analysis review. So keep in mind, this isn't just for the people taking the exam. This is for everybody in class to complete. Okay, I hope you have a great weekend. Don't forget to submit tonight before midnight. And I will see you again on Monday. Same place, same time.